Module Overview. Effective governance does not thrive on goodwill alone. It requires codified laws, regulatory mechanisms, and institutions with autonomy, authority, and capacity to enforce standards, prosecute misconduct, and ensure the proper use of public resources. This module explores the legal and institutional foundations that anchor the principles of transparency, accountability, anti-corruption, public ethics, and democratic governance in national and international contexts. The rule of law is the bedrock of accountable governance, and institutional structures are the operational arms of enforcement. Without these frameworks, accountability becomes a suggestion rather than a requirement, and transparency becomes cosmetic rather than functional. This module will address the legal instruments, constitutions, acts, policies, laws, FOI, anti-corruption statutes, audit rules, etc. The institutional arrangements, Ombudsman, EFCC, ICPC, PAC, courts, civil service commissions, audit offices. The normative values, integrity, due process, equity, domestic and international instruments, challenges of enforcement, independence, political interference, and capacity gaps, recommendations for reform and strengthening oversight architecture. Legal frameworks, the foundations of governance accountability. A. The Constitution serves as the supreme legal instrument, establishes separation of powers, rule of law, and fundamental rights, defines roles, responsibilities, and limitations of all arms of government, provides the basis for accountability mechanisms, e.g., impeachment, recall, judicial review. B. Freedom of information laws, enables citizens, media, and CSOs to request and access public information. Nigeria's FOI Act, 2011, is a vital tool for promoting transparency in ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs. C. Anti-corruption laws and codes of conduct laws that criminalize bribery, embezzlement, money laundering, and abuse of office, includes public service codes of ethics that guide acceptable behavior for officials. Examples: EFCC Act, ICPC Act, Public Procurement Act, 2007, Fiscal Responsibility Act, etc. D. Budgetary and procurement laws govern how public resources are planned, allocated, and used, promote transparency in fiscal management, e.g., medium-term expenditure framework, enforce competitive bidding, value for money, and open contracting. E. Audit acts and public finance laws define the roles of Auditor General, internal audit units, and audit committees. Ensure that every public financial transaction is subject to verification, compliance review, and corrective action. Institutional frameworks, engines of accountability. These are the governmental and quasi-independent agencies tasked with implementing the laws and ensuring that power is exercised responsibly. A. Anti-corruption and oversight institutions, EFCC, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, investigates and prosecutes financial crimes and money laundering. ICPC, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, focuses on administrative corruption and system reform. Code of Conduct, Bureau and Tribunal, monitors asset declaration and public ethics. Legislative oversight mechanisms, Public Accounts Committees, PACS, scrutinize audit reports and expenditure. Standing committees, probe ministries and departments during budget defense or investigations. Parliamentary hearings, public forums for oversight and accountability. Judicial institutions, courts ensure due process, enforce rights, and rule on constitutional breaches. Judicial reviews of executive or legislative actions enhance legal accountability. Special anti-corruption courts expedite trials of high-profile public office holders. D. Auditing institutions. Auditor General for the Federation States, empowered to audit and report on public accounts. Internal audit units in MDAS promote early detection and correction of financial mismanagement. E. Civil service and ethics institutions, Public Complaints Commission, Ombudsman, investigates grievances and maladministration. Civil service commissions ensure meritocracy and discipline in public service recruitment and promotions. F. Procurement and budget monitoring agencies, Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, enforces transparency in government contracting. Budget Office of the Federation coordinates budget preparation and implementation. Debt Management Office, DMO, manages government borrowing responsibly. International conventions and legal norms. Countries are also bound by global and regional instruments. United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC, African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, OECD Anti-Bribery Convention, ECOWAS Protocol on Good Governance. These conventions provide normative benchmarks and cross-border cooperation mechanisms for investigation, repatriation of stolen assets, and mutual legal assistance. Importance of institutional independence and capacity. Institutions must be legally protected from political interference. Appointments should be merit-based and non-partisan. They require adequate funding, training, technology, and security to function effectively. Institutional overlap, rivalry, and bureaucratic bottlenecks must be addressed. Common challenges in legal and institutional oversight. Weak enforcement of laws due to selective application or interference. Duplication of mandates between agencies. Political appointments of agency heads undermining autonomy. Lack of coordination, data sharing, or case tracking mechanisms. Judicial corruption and slow trial processes. Poor budgetary releases affecting oversight capacity. Recommendations for strengthening legal and institutional frameworks. Review outdated laws and align them with current realities. Harmonize institutional roles to reduce duplication and turf wars. Digitize processes to enhance transparency and accountability, e.g., e-procurement. Support civil society and media collaboration with oversight institutions. Enforce penalties for obstruction of audit, refusal to declare assets, or deliberate delay of information release. The future: smart, adaptive, and people-centered oversight. Artificial intelligence and data analytics will increasingly play a role in detecting anomalies. Blockchain-based public finance systems will improve traceability of funds. Legal empowerment of citizens will ensure that laws are not only top-down, but also bottom-up tools for justice. Conclusion of module. Legal and institutional frameworks are the nerve center of effective governance. They give force to democratic values and provide the mechanisms for demanding and enforcing accountability. Laws without implementation are mere ink on paper. Institutions without independence are puppets. This module empowers you with the deep understanding of what makes accountability real, not theoretical, and how governance can be protected and refined through a well-oiled legal and institutional architecture.